Casino SEO is loud, messy, but somehow still growing. The market just keeps getting bigger and bigger. The UK one, a beast. Win here, you can win everywhere. So here's the game. One fixed budget on the table, one SEO expert to spend it all on camera, right here, right now with us. I know today's guest from the conference world, Campbell. I think you might have known him. He's a dad, an actor, a good friend of mine, but most of it all, an SEO expert. But he's here to be tested. No magic tricks, just choices. I'm your host, Victor Coupé, and this is... Craig, good to see you. Welcome to the Square Table. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Victor. It's good to catch up as always.
Same, I agree with you. Look, today it's not going to be about football. It's not going to be about anything that we love spending hours and hours talking, but instead, I am here to ask you about some of your insights in iGaming and casinos. So let's just jump straight to it. I want to present to you a challenge, a 15K UK affiliate challenge, where we're going to be taking a fresh UK casino affiliate, brand new domain, already has a little bit of content, already has some life of its own. But right now, it came to your doorstep with a budget of 15,000 per month for 3 months. Okay, so you have 90 days to present. I'm not going to say a results, but a solution, a process to how this company, this UK casino affiliate website should spend 15K a month. Shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
Awesome.
So, a couple of things that you've said already would raise certain flags as to how that budget would be spent for me. Now, you say brand new domain name. Obviously, in the casino space, you're entering a very, very competitive space. Everyone has got a powerful website that's 10 plus years old with all these powerful domain names pointing at them and stuff like that. So, brand new domain name, we're already on the back foot in terms
Yeah.
of link power. We're already going, right, there's a massive shortfall in terms of a link building strategy. Now, key points that you did say, there's something happening there, there's some content on there, and, that it's maybe making some money. The point I'm trying to give to people is there is no give Craig 15 grand and he's going to spend 30% in links, 30% in this and 30% in that or whatever. It is not the same for each and every website. So you're going to have to look at the website, the content strategy, what is on there. Is it the keywords that you want to go after? Do we need to spend the first month or even the first 2 months revising the content strategy and spending money on getting new content? If not, then you're probably going to go down the route of link building, and viral traffic is the word that has been thrown around in the iGaming niche a lot in recent times. Previously we would call it CTR, manipulation. But we have to look at the website, and taking on board what you say, I'm going to assume there's good content on there, and I've got something to work with. So, I have had instances where people will come to me and they'll say, Craig, I'm in position 8, position 9 for whatever their keyword is. I'm a DR73. I've done digital PR for years. I've bought every link under the sun for years. I'm doing this. My own page is perfect. What do I do? Do I buy more links? Do I tweak this? Do I tweak that? And a lot of people go round in circles. They keep tweaking their own page. They keep buying more links. They're not getting the traction they want.
Yeah.
And that is where the kind of viral traffic side of things would come in, because Google have to look at other stuff, and engagement, time on website, all of that kind of stuff is a weighted factor by Google from an SEO perspective. So you would add that into the mix if you were trying to push something up. So that would play a part of it. How much do you need to do really depends on, one, the budget, two, the competitive nature of the keyword and how much monthly search volume that keyword's got as well. Because if you send 20 clicks a day at something like online casino, it's not even going to scratch the surface. So you've got that to take into account as well. But at the start, if I had really good content that was on this website, I would probably spend 10K on links and 5K on viral traffic and stuff like that. That would be the balance on that. And the reason why I'm saying 10K is because I'm still in my head going, we're weak because it's a new domain name. And obviously starting off in casino or starting out, that is something you need to take into consideration. And you need to think, these guys got 10 years on me. Unless I hit that with more budget, I'm not going to be able to catch that. If you're only spending a couple of grand a month on links, you're not going to, because everyone's spending that on links, then you're not going to be able to catch them. And that's why typically we would look at other ways so when you say buying links, potentially I could go out there and buy some age domains that I build out and then redirect into the website, utilising power and authority that other domain names have. So the link building and that 10 grand budget would also account for that, because it doesn't matter what happens, I need to get a certain amount of power and authority on that domain name before it ranks for the big keywords. Now, it doesn't matter whether it's a new domain name or not. I don't see that as being the obstacle. I need to catch up on the 10 years or whatever the competition have got, and I can utilise, whether it be using PBNs, whether it be using redirects, whether it be acquiring older domain names that have had history. All of that would come under that link building bracket. And that is something I would go aggressive with. And that's why I would apportion 10 grand of that budget towards that type of activity. I think, something else you say that kind of raises a little bit of a flag, and I'm going to go a bit deeper, is you've only got 3 months. Trying to rank or show someone real good growth in the casino space in 3 months
It's tough.
on the shorter side of things. I'm not saying you can't. If that's what is being put in front of me, Craig, you've got this, and you need to show me something happening within 3 months before, and I can continue spending, then absolutely, I'm still going to go. That's why I would be throwing in the viral traffic part as well, because I think the mixture of throwing that in can start to see results relatively quickly. And if you look at anyone in the industry who's selling viral traffic and things like that, they won't touch you until you're in the top 20 search results in a lot of cases. And it's kind of the icing on top of the cake, because what happens is if you send the viral traffic and you're on page 10, yeah, you'll see an increase in rankings, but the minute you stop the traffic, you bounce back down. The way that I like to think of it, Victor, is like ingredients, and if you say, Craig, I want to make you a nice steak tonight, and you've got your own little formula and pepper and, a bit of this and a bit of that, I think for me, I would be adding that viral traffic in at 5 grand, because that would be my part of the mix to just get things moving a little bit, and going really aggressive with the link building budget. But also, just to add to that, Victor, I am going to say that 15 grand, it's actually not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things in that industry. So you are literally constraining me massively with that. I don't want anyone to look at this going, oh, he can rank casinos for 15 grand a month. No. No, there is a lot more to it. Obviously, different countries and all of that kind of stuff will come into play as well, and different levels of competition, different sets of keywords as well. So just want to highlight that part as well.
No, but that's a good thing to highlight. This is, at the end of the day, a YouTube challenge. I want people to understand from your mind, what would they do if they had the same scenario, the same opportunity, with the constraints, without some of the information. This is by itself a quick activity. And
Yeah.
with everything that you just said, my next follow-up question would be, now that you have taken 10K for link building and the rest, the 5K for literally the rest, maybe how many pages, how many articles, how many guest posts are you looking at within 10K? Should we spend with really high DER costly links, or should we go with a mix of quantity and quality within those links itself?
Again, because you said at the start it's a new domain name, I think you've
Yes.
got to get the balance of quantity and quality. I know they both are very
Hmm.
different things, but I think you need to get volume at the start, and as you progress, you would obviously focus more on the quality and the relevance and everything else. But I think at the start, and in particular in the iGaming space, it's a volume game as well. The rules are slightly different from any other niche. There's guys out there still grabbing any old domain name, and they don't even care about relevance and things like that. And
Hmm.
arguably, people will still argue that that works. Obviously, as an SEO, I'd be saying, focus on quality, would normally be my answer, but in the iGaming space, it's hard to get links at times. You've got people with certain moral compasses that don't want to give you links. There's people religion-based. They don't want to place guest posts on sites or whatever. So it is also a case of grabbing what you can to a certain extent as well. And I wouldn't be going out there paying £2,000 and £3,000 for like a Forbes or
I
something
was
like
gonna
that.
ask you that about a
Um,
digital PR placement, if it
no,
even makes sense.
it doesn't at that cost. Absolutely, Forbes is a powerful, authoritative website, and they're not going to allow you with your casino link on there
Yeah,
anyway.
no.
But you've also got like Parasite SEO and all these kind of things that people do, and they'll get an article on, I don't know, LinkedIn Pulse, Reddit, all of the kind of standard parasites, and they'll utilize the power of that domain name with their article to link through with their affiliate link and make some money. That works for the here and now. That is better use of your money because one, you're getting a link from Reddit, whatever, powering up your domain name. But it's not just about Parasite. You've got guest posts. There's websites out there that have DR60, DR70. Get on those as long as you're not paying £2,000 a pop, because if I've got 10, I can, and every link's £2,000 a pop, then I'm only going to be able to get 5 links. So that's where you need to try and spend and get the best you can for the £10,000. So it will be a mixture. Now, of course, if you, Victor, were coming to me and said, Craig, man, I've got a website here and it's a DR80 and it's super relevant, super powerful, and it's £1.5 on it. I've got to take that into consideration going, is that something I should grab? And I've got a choice to make at that point now. Makes sense, and it's going to rank well, and and it's a DR80. Sometimes you've got to put out for something that's of high authority if the opportunity is there. But like I say, there's a lot of overpriced garbage out there as well, and that is why I wouldn't be wanting to spend too much on one link, if that makes sense. So
Perfect.
yeah, I am looking to, and especially in the first couple of months, Victor, I would be looking at probably more the guest posts, the niche edits, people's PBNs, just assets that people I know have, and if I can sling them, 50 or £100 to get on there, then absolutely, I'd be looking to pull all of those favours in first. Not dismissing digital PR or any of the powerful websites. I just think when my hands are tied and I've only got 10 grand, I need to spend that in the best way possible. And essentially, one other thing I want to highlight, Victor, is the question you're asking me is, how do I get a Ferrari for 10 grand? You can't.
Yeah,
You fucking can't. You can go to anywhere in the world with your 10 grand. You ain't walking away with a Ferrari unless it's burnt out. Some burnt out Ferrari that's not going to do anything for you. So that is where I would be saying, maybe with 10 grand and a bit of messing around, I could get something that resembles a nice car. But
perfect.
that is the point, and I always try and relate to life situations. You cannot get a Ferrari for 10 grand. So if you're saying to me, Craig, that's the budget, I've got to do the best I can with that and try my best to make it look nice and
Yeah,
perform nice and make money and try and get the person a return of investment. So that's where, obviously, with anything in life, Victor, you cut corners, you can get something that's better value for money, or you spot an opportunity, or you prey on someone's naivety, getting links cheaper, they're selling it too cheap or whatever. I'm looking to exploit all of that for my 10 grand. That's what I'm looking to do. And
perfect.
obviously, take advantage of contacts I've got and all that as well. Hopefully,
Yeah,
a friend will do me a favour.
yeah. That's always how it works. We know that. You taught me that very well. Within the same budget, the same restraints, talking about, you said so yourself, we can't have a Ferrari. Let's talk about a Chinese EV then. If we were to build this Chinese EV with the 10K a month, when can the affiliate website expect to see, you know, a return? Maybe we're talking about first rankings, maybe we're talking about first depositors. Break even, I think in 3 months it's very hard. So maybe we shouldn't go over that. But we're talking about, for the first 3 months, 10K a month for link building, 30K in 3 months for link building, with the consideration that we should focus more on quantity, not exactly talking about $200 links, but I imagine those 500, 600, 1,000, two
Yeah.
thousand instead of the digital PRs one. So results, when are you expecting to show something, to see
I
something?
think if someone's giving you that 15K a month over 3 months, you better show them something soon. Now, the reality is, if you've got the right deals as an affiliate, 100 sign-ups should be the equivalent of about 50 grand. Now, getting 100 people to sign up, doesn't matter what the keywords are, all of that kind of stuff's irrelevant. You need to get keywords that convert. Can I spend that money and get that person a return on the 45 grand they've given me over 3 months? It can be tough at the start. I think, by the time you build up momentum, by the time your links are being crawled, indexed, and actually passing power, and all of that kind of stuff, can take weeks and weeks and weeks. I would always say to someone, don't expect too much in the first couple of months, the first 3 months. But you're going to go after what we would typically call longer tail keywords, maybe even go after casino brand names that are easier to rank. You're also potentially going to leverage some PBNs and age domains or Parasite stuff. Can that stuff still get you sign-ups using that affiliate link? Absolutely. And, the job, it's in my head, it's two games you're playing in the one strategy. One, you have to perform well and rank well. And two, you need to keep this person paying. So in my head, you're going, right, going to have to pull a few tricks out the bag, whether it be Parasite and, sticking their affiliate link in or the affiliate link in there into the Parasite to get quicker results, just to keep the cash flow coming so that they can continue to pay. If that is an opportunity for me, that's part of the strategy, because no one's got an endless pot of money to keep paying. They have to see that return of investment. So I'm not going to say cheat, but utilising age domains, because you can throw up an age domain and get things working relatively quickly if you use the right strategy. And can you see results within weeks, or in a much shorter period of time? Absolutely. But some of that stuff is not there for long-term rankings. So again, it depends whether you're building a brand and you're trying to utilise strategies that are there for short wins, or you're trying to play the long game. And I think it's up to you to, like I say, you're playing two games at the one time. You may be trying to rank the website, but you need to keep that person's cash flow coming and keep their hope going and everything else so that they can see some form of return of investment. And even if you did only make 40 grand back and they'd given you 45 over that 3 month period, they're like, right, we're not quite where we need to be. See cash coming in and can continue with this project, and I'm going to keep throwing money at it. Whereas if you get nothing, that's when the problems start, and that's when people start getting twitchy and itchy feet and all that stuff. And it's stupid, because we all know you're probably, if saying to any customer, give it 6 months before you start to see results. So why would you take something on saying this is a 3 month project? Like I say, there's always corners to be cut, and you've got to go by the rules that the person puts in front of you as well.
And
So
you and I know that there are some companies out there that feel like 3 months is more than enough. So
yeah.
hence
But
again, why the time frame that I selected.
yeah, but reality is, can you invest 15 grand a month and instantly expect to be pulling in 100, 200, 500 grand a month?
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
Not realistically within 3 months,
No,
going to take a bit more than that. And
Yeah,
and it's not the SEO specifically that dictates that, it's your competition. That's what
true,
you're up against.
true,
That
true.
also comes into play.
I think this has led us to the moment that I was most excited about, because those that know you know that you're sometimes trying different tactics. You're not playing exactly by Ahrefs books, let's just say it like that. And it's nothing illegal at all about it. So my question right now is, you told us about how in 3 months is very hard, with the budget is very hard. But again, the reason why I brought the number and the time frame is because it's a scenario that I have been through in the past working in SEO. So I know that there are going to be people around here with very similar scenarios by themselves. But now, talking about the knowledge that you gathered all these years, would there be a risk that you tried early, something, a tactic maybe that you test once and retire if it doesn't work out, a strategy that you know can sometimes boost rankings, boost discovery, something at all outside of the normal scope that we all talk about here on YouTube, that we might put here, even as an acceptable risk on a fresh domain, or not? You feel like, nah, better stay close to what works.
I mean, one, you've got to stick close to what works. Now, I would be lying to say that we don't ever test stuff and take risks, absolutely, but you would never do that on someone else's domain name. I think that's the first thing. If that person knew about that or they asked you, to deploy that on their
Yeah.
website and they're willing to take that risk, absolutely.
For this scenario,
However,
let's pretend that yes, you have an improvement here of doing whatever.
then absolutely, that that you can go more aggressive. You can use certain tricks that you're probably going to get slammed for in the longer term, and absolutely you can deploy those. And but typically, what we would do is, obviously someone's got a main website. If we were going to go all out aggressive, we would have sub websites to do that stuff. And that is where I get excited and try different things. You meet a guy who tries this and does that, or uses this or does that, or mass page stuff, all of the kind of stuff that happens. You would not want to risk the main project. You would hide behind another website to deploy that stuff, which still use those mini websites to funnel people into the main website, but you would use a crappier website to deploy that kind of stuff on. And even when it comes to link building, redirects, and all that kind of stuff, Google, I don't want to scare people in the casino space, because people say, fuck's sake, Craig, it is a free-for-all in the iGaming space, to be honest. I'm not saying you won't get banned. Of course, people get banned, people get taken against them and all that kind of stuff. But in my opinion, with my experience, the gloves are off in the iGaming space. I think Google turned a blind eye to a lot of stuff. In all honesty, stuff that you maybe would get penalised for in a normal day-to-day niche, I see just getting blatantly ignored in the iGaming SERP. So sometimes I pinch myself going, that cannot fucking work in this space. And it does. People have spoken about it. You can grab an old restaurant domain name and repurpose it and fill it full of casino stuff. It's beggars belief that ranks, but for the here and now, that's working. I can't believe it works. I think it goes against everything Google say, but it works. And
Yep.
do I fully expect that Google one day will say that can't work, and topical relevance is supposed to be a thing? Absolutely. But while something's working right now, Victor, traffic is money. And if there's £1 million on the table, or tens of millions, or whatever the pot of gold is on the table, you've got to ask yourself, do you want some of it or not? And, whether you use a website and take a hell of a lot more risk to get that is on you. And that obviously that's a gamble. So absolutely, mate. I've done it 1,000,000 times. But like I say, I wouldn't do it with someone's brand who've taken 15 years to build a brand, and then all of a sudden you're playing funny beggars with their stuff. It would all have to be something that they were happy with, or I would always suggest use another website for that.
Yeah.
That kind of game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always like to push the boundaries. It's always been a fun part of the game, and love hearing from other people in the industry who are doing weird and wonderful things, and taking that and going away and trying it out to see if they're kidding you on or not, or if it works in your niche or in your country. It's the way forward. It's something always people say, always be testing shit. Just because so-and-so said it doesn't mean it's true. And I think any good SEO in this space will always, always, always be pushing the boundaries, pushing tactics, tricks, and everything else. And you see them all at bars at these conferences as well. Like, oh, you're trying that fucking worked for you in that niche? Absolutely. And that's what I love. There's no one way to do it all, and everyone's always up to something new or something a bit more devious. And I like to consider myself to be one of those guys that like, if that's working for him, I want some of it. So it's
Nice.
just kind of mentality I've got.
That's nice. And that's what this square table is about. We're going to be bringing challenges, and we're going to be bringing questions, making you, the SEO experts, think, understand what works, what doesn't, what should be done, what shouldn't. And I think for now, we have a very good basis towards generating income for a small affiliate side casino. But alas, as you said so yourself, I think we all learned from this episode 50K is not that much. 3 months, not a lot of things are going to happen in 3 months. You need more time, you need a little bit more money. But if you find yourself in this exact scenario, you know exactly what Craig would do.